Have you ever heard people talk about being left or right brained? It basically refers to science that claims a right brain person tends to use creative, imaginative, and dare I say, passionate ways of thinking versus left brain people who are more analytical and logical in their approach. Which one are you? Well, whichever one it is, it doesn't really matter. In this series, we'll be tackling the use of QuickBooks financial software. Even if you're a right brain person, we'll provide the skills you need to accurately and efficiently manage your business like a left brainer would. In fact, especially for those of you who think you do not think like an accountant, QuickBooks is the tool to assist you in your pursuit of business success. Why use financial software like QuickBooks? Because it will help you and those you work with be efficient as you participate in business activities from the sales cycle to bookkeeping. It'll ensure you're consistent in not only those processes, but also your communications and reporting. Perhaps most importantly, QuickBooks ensures accuracy in your financial transactions and reports. All of these make you appear and perform as a business professional, and that equates to customer retention and even increased funding options. QuickBooks can also communicate with vendors and market to customers or, hopefully, future customers. I think we also have to mention that we always hope we can go through life without any of our financial activities coming into question. But if they ever do, and you're audited, either internally or by outside interests, QuickBooks provides the information you need and lends kind of a sense of accuracy and reliability to the data and increases your credibility. I don't know about you, but those all sound like good reasons to use financial software like QuickBooks to me. So, in this series, you'll explore with me the many modules and features of QuickBooks 2015. We'll start with a quick start. So, if you just can't wait, we'll get you going even before you know it all. Then we'll be tackling the different aspects of business finance in QuickBooks in a fairly logical manner. That means we'll work through setting up a company, including a little accounting primer in case you're not an accountant or don't have a lot of experience with it, that all the terminology will make sense. We'll talk about QuickBook lists and how to work them because they're used throughout the QuickBooks software. We then need to talk about services or inventory or both, which are the things that you will sell, as well as customers who are the people you will sell to. We'll talk about bank accounts because hopefully you'll need a place to keep all of that money. And all of this revolves around making some type of sale. There are a lot of different aspects about sales, including things like returns and credits. Getting into a little bit more of the technical accounting jargon, we need to know about accounts receivable, or monies we'll be taking in. And unfortunately, we also have accounts payable, which are the bills that we owe. All of this is critical to our business, but what's also critical is making sure that our financial information is safe and secure. We'll also talk about some of the administrative activities that you have to do to keep the IRS, your business, and QuickBooks happy and functioning for years to come. QuickBooks is a software program that has been around a long time, and over the years it has grown and matured into a respected, reliable financial software tool. I'm not going to try to tell you that we'll cover every feature of the software, and while I am going to give you a lot of accounting background and insights, this is not an accounting class. But by the end of this series, you'll have an in-depth understanding of how QuickBooks is organized, how the modules work, how you can utilize the many features to document and work your way through the sales and business processes that you need. No matter what your specific business is, our goal is always the same: to assist you in achieving success. So whether you're a left or a right brainer, whether you're a seasoned business pro or just starting your own new venture, QuickBooks and this series are going to help you get where you want to go. If you are working with or for someone else, QuickBooks may already be in place, then you'll just need to use it. Of course, if it's your company or you are the person tasked to implement it, then the initial setup needs to occur. Unlike other software, where after it's physically installed on a computer, it's ready to just open and use, QuickBooks requires some initial setup or some initial planning before we actually can use it. Actually, that's not completely accurate. Like other software, you need to create a file to work with, but the company file in QuickBooks requires more than just clicking a new button to begin using it. Even if this initial setup of the company file has already been done, it helps to understand exactly what you are working with. So in this chapter, we'll explore the steps necessary to prepare for and set up a company file. You'll find that a lot of effort goes into the initial step. But your efforts will be rewarded with a solid, personalized QuickBooks company file that works for your company and your accounting needs. What you need to know is some basic accounting principles and terminology, how to prepare for QuickBooks, and how to actually create a new company file. QuickBooks is financial software. Okay, we know that. But as you begin to use QuickBooks, you may sometimes ask yourself why it makes you do certain things, like adding a vendor record when all you want to do is enter that you paid $5.50 for a sandwich at a business lunch. The answer is twofold. First, QuickBooks isn't just financial software, it's an accounting system. Although you don't have to know anything technical about accounting, QuickBooks has to follow certain rules when it tracks our finances. Otherwise, it would have no credibility. Although you may not care to know who you paid for that sandwich if it was a small one-time purchase, QuickBooks must keep track of it. You'll be thankful it did if you're ever audited. The IRS absolutely wants to know who you paid that $5.50 to. And if they want to know it 6 years from now, you'll be thankful that QuickBooks made you enter it. So while you do not need to know accounting specifics, it is helpful to understand at least some of the basics so you understand why QuickBooks makes you enter certain things, and so you can understand what it is doing behind the scenes when you enter certain transactions like income or expenses. There is a difference between buying a sandwich and a new piece of machinery, or maybe how you want to record the fact that you contributed some of your own money to get the company going or get a loan from a bank. That's why we're going to go over a little accounting primer. It'll give you just the basics of what QuickBooks needs and how it uses the information that you'll be entering through the simplified forms and windows that you use. If at some time there needs to be an adjustment, then either you or your accountant can even go into those general ledgers and accounts and make adjustments. That, of course, is beyond the scope of this series, but a little accounting knowledge is going to be helpful as you work with the typical QuickBooks features. It's also going to be helpful as you prepare to create your new company file for the business. In many ways, this can actually be the most challenging part of using QuickBooks. You need to gather information for your business from whatever sources that may entail so that you can properly set up the company file to be accurate and usable. This is not an option. If you need to create a company file, you must be able to provide some basic starting information so QuickBooks can gather and report what you enter accurately. Now, don't worry. It's not that this is difficult or technical, but there are a few things you need to gather, like bank statements and customer lists, to get things going. You'll also be asked what type of accounting method you want to use, and that is really important. So we want to be sure that you're both prepared and know how to determine the correct answers. Then, of course, it's time to actually create the company file in QuickBooks. This is the easiest part of all, assuming that you've done your homework, that is, and that you've gathered and planned before getting started. We'll go over a short list of things to consider to help you get going. In this chapter, we'll get you to the starting line. Like a good track coach, we'll help prepare you for the race. In this case, it's more like a marathon because you'll be using QuickBooks for the long haul, for the lifetime of your company. Training and preparing for something like that requires discipline and a little insight from those who have done it before, so they can better prepare you. By illustrating some of the things to consider and information to gather before you create that file, the equivalent of getting to the starting line, as well as providing some insights into the world of accounting without having to sit through a 16-week college accounting course, we hope that you will have the equivalent of this kind of training for a marathon. That way, you'll be ready to start your run in the best possible place. In this case, to start using QuickBooks for the duration of your company. At the end, you'll be ready to hit the ground running with a solid, accurate, and functional QuickBooks company file.